So as you well know, Jussie Smollett has been found to be absolutely guilty of committing a huge hoax. Jussie Smollett currently turned himself in on a disorderly conduct charge. And according to even CNN, actor Jussie Smollett faces a felony charge for allegedly filing a false police report. But of course, we know he did. The police are saying he did. And I want you to listen to this black cop who absolutely demolishes Jussie Smollett and tells it as it is. Let's watch.
So this morning, I come to you not only as the superintendent of the Chicago Police Department, but also as a black man who spent his entire life living in the city of Chicago. I know the racial divide that exists here. I know how hard it's been for our city and our nation to come together. And I also know the disparities, and I know the history. This announcement today recognizes that Empire actor Jussie Smollett took advantage of the pain and anger of racism to promote his career. Why would anyone, especially an African-American man, use the symbolism of a noose to make false accusations? How can an individual who's been embraced by the city of Chicago turn around and slap everyone in this city in the face by making these false claims? Bogus police reports cause real harm. They do harm to every legitimate victim who's in need of support by police and investigators, as well as the citizens of this city. We do not, nor will we ever tolerate hate in our city, whether that hate is based on an individual's sexual orientation, race, or anything else. So I'm offended by what's happened, and I'm also angry. I love the city of Chicago and the Chicago Police Department, warts and all. But this publicity stunt was a scar that Chicago didn't earn and certainly didn't deserve. To make things worse, the accusations within this phony attack received national attention for weeks. Celebrities, news commentators, and even presidential candidates weighed in on something that was choreographed by an actor.
And guess who called it out? YouTubers, alternative media. Almost immediately, everyone knew that this story was absolutely fake. And there were people who said, well, maybe you shouldn't jump to conclusions. What if it was a real crime? Well, they were wrong. And not only that, the mainstream media pushed the narrative that Jussie Smollett wasn't lying. He was on national television. They treated it like a real story.
We have a media that's saying it's a debate whether or not what just happened to Jussie Smollett is a hate crime. It's absurd. This isn't a debate.
I agree.
Now, how many people are going to remember? How many people are going to remember that this was actually completely bogus?
Smollett attempted to gain attention by sending a false letter that relied on racial, homophobic, and political language. When that didn't work, Smollett paid $3,500 to stage this attack and drag Chicago's reputation through the mud in the process. And why? This stunt was orchestrated by Smollett because he was dissatisfied with his salary. So he concocted a story about being attacked. Now, our city has problems. We know that.
Yeah, so there you have it, folks. The reason that Jussie Smollett did this was to boost his career and get more money. Isn't it amazing that we live in an era of civil rights, of equality for both men and women, for people of any race and creed? People like Jussie Smollett can become actors and make lots of money. And yet, people in the mainstream media still cry and cry and cry about racism, about division. They fuel the hatred, they fuel the masses in the discord, dividing this country, taking advantage of myths, like the myth of racism in America. It's an absolute myth. It will always exist on all sides, against all people. It's not just one kind of people, it's everyone, because that's how human beings are. It's part of human nature, and there's definitely more to it. But the myth that, oh, racism is rampant, and Trump's America caused this, and oh, there's so many bad people everywhere, is not true. It is absolutely categorically not true, because when there is so little hate, you have to make up hate. You have to pretend that it exists. You have to make up stories, make up false stories, and this happens all the time. Constantly. We're bombarded with all of these bogus fake news stories like what happened with the Covington kids. But you know, my friends, the pendulum is swinging. In the Covington case, they were getting ready to file a libel lawsuit. And recently, they filed a $100 million suit against the Washington Post. And now, in this Jussie Smollett story, he's finally being charged. And it looks like it's gonna be a felony. An absolute felony on his record. And I honestly hope he gets a little bit of prison time, too. I'm sure he'll be demolished in prison, just like he's being demolished by this cop.
We have problems that have affected people from all walks of life, and we know that. But to put the national spotlight on Chicago for something that is both egregious and untrue is simply shameful. I'm also concerned about what this means moving forward for hate crimes. Now, of course, the Chicago Police Department will continue to investigate all reports of these types of incidents with the same amount of vigor that we did with this one. But my concern is that hate crimes will now publicly be met with a level of skepticism that previously didn't happen.
That's because most of it is actually bullshit anyway. We've seen a lot of fake news. So more skepticism is a good thing.
That said, Smollett was treated as a victim throughout this investigation until we received evidence that led detectives in another direction. I couldn't be more proud of the unrelenting detective work that went into this investigation, and I couldn't be more proud of every investigator that played a part in it. The detective work that we saw in this case is indicative of the work that our detectives do every day in this city. This case in particular involved hours of video evidence, which when combined with old-fashioned police work, uncovered the truth. These detectives deserve all the credit in the world for carefully analyzing the leads and the evidence for weeks before coming to their conclusion. I'd also like to thank the FBI for their help in this investigation. The FBI's partnership with CPD has been pivotal in this particular case. I only hope that the truth about what happened receives the same amount of attention that the hoax did. I'll continue to pray for this troubled young man who resorted to both drastic and illegal tactics to gain attention. I'll also continue to pray for our city, asking that we can move forward from this and begin to heal.
So there you have it, folks. Jussie Smollett lied. Not only that, he is going to be charged, and he's gonna get what he has coming to him, because he was a liar. Just like everyone predicted. Just like it was obvious from the start. And he did it all for money. You know, there's really something to be said when the demand for hate, the demand for all of these left-wing talking points is so small that you have to make up stories. You have to make up lies. It seems like every single day, right-wingers and people who don't agree with the far left are being labeled as Nazis and hateful people, even if it's not true. Most of the time, it's not true. When you don't have any arguments, when you don't have any evidence, you must resort to emotion and manipulation, and that is exactly the type of person that the left wing seems to be filled with. People who are emotional and use emotional manipulation and lies to get their way. But you know what, my friends? The pendulum is swinging, and it's swinging back hard. I hope Jussie Smollett is disgraced forever, and that this wakes people up in America over all of these falsehoods. How many times must a man lie before people realize that, hey, maybe it's bullshit, maybe I shouldn't believe the media, maybe I shouldn't jump the gun. Let's see the evidence. I want proof. And really, that's what any rational human being should do. But that's merely the obvious. Well, that's all for now, folks. Let me know what you think about this story. Are you happy that we finally seen some resolution to all this? I mean, I called it out right from the get-go. A lot of people did. Do you think he's actually going to face any prison time? Is he actually going to get punished? Or will he settle for a lesser charge? Most likely, he's probably going to settle for a lesser charge, because that's what all these people do to weasel their way out of any real punishment. But hey, at least the truth is out now. Anyways, thanks for watching. This has been Mr. Obvious, and I'll see you all next time.